So let's talk over the differences between diegetic and non-diegetic sound, which basically refers to whether or not the audio in a film originates from within it. Can we see it, or does it make sense that the audio came from what we're seeing, or was it added in later as in a soundtrack or something else put in post-production? Let's start first with an example of diegetic sound. Okay, we'll cut it there. So we have a pretty classic example of diegetic sound, and as we run the scene back, we'll see that every sound we hear originates from what we're seeing. We hear the radio, we hear the hum of the car, the rain, we can hear as our driver turns, the turn signal come on, and especially as we move outside of the car, we hear the sound shift, car goes into park, we hear the radio muffled now because it's coming from outside of the car. We hear the car door slam, and finally, her exhalation. So a really classic example of diegetic sound where everything we hear is originating from what we see. So let's switch it up now and look at non-diegetic sound, which the audio is going to come from outside of the film world. Let's go with another example.
The zipper's broken on my favorite hoodie. At 24, I'm somehow making rookie mistakes.
Okay, we'll cut it there. So this is a very classic non-diegetic film score or soundtrack style. In this case, we have all of the emphasis on the song rather than those environmental sounds. As we run back through the scene, we can hear that all of those little sounds from the first example, the radio, the car, the turn signal, the car pulling in, all of those are gone, and our focus is now entirely on the song. So these are the two extremes of diegetic and non-diegetic sound, but there are a lot of creative ways to do both diegetic and non-diegetic sound within the same scene.
Without crashing out on April the 12th.
Okay, so here we essentially have a combination of the first two examples. We have our scene, we know the radio, we see her change it, is coming from within the car. We start with the radio version, but suddenly it shifts, it's a fuller, richer sound. We have the soundtrack version, and yet she's singing along to it, so we know she's interacting with the sound. So that song is kind of existing between both worlds. The song reacts as she gets out of the car, we hear it from the outside, we hear the car door slam, the exhalation, and scene. So hopefully this gets you thinking about some of the creative ways you can use both diegetic and non-diegetic sound in your own scenes.